Greetings everyone, greetings and welcome. This video is going to be a little bit different than my usual, but I did discover a fellow YouTuber that wrote a letter to Square Enix, and I thought it would be fun to sort of react to the video. I don't actually know what the video is about, I have no idea, it just came up, and I clicked on it. Throughout the years, I grew up playing Final Fantasy, and I really loved this series. I really loved Final Fantasy VII, Final Fantasy VIII. They had a really good impression on me, so I went back and played a lot of the classic titles. Final Fantasy VI became a quick favorite. It's really hard to rank all those games, like which one is better and which one is the greatest of all time. They're all great in their own way, but there were several years, and I feel like the sort of like late 90s and the very early 2000s was such a great game, great time for JRPGs. So those games are really special to me, and they made such a huge impact. So on my channel, I have several videos that are sort of rant style videos, although I'm speaking kind of like this in a calm manner. So a lot of people have been clowning on me saying it's not really much of a rant, but I spoke from the heart. I really wanted to love Final Fantasy VII Remake. I'm working on a video discussing this as well, but I tried so hard to love it. I want this series to succeed. I love Final Fantasy VII, and Final Fantasy VII Remake was okay. It was just that. It was just okay. The music was amazing, the combat system was amazing. That's probably the best thing about the game, but I just feel like all the additions to the story really muddied this game, really muddied this series. I've heard great things about the new Final Fantasy uh, 7 Crisis Core game, the one with Zack. So I'm gonna like pass by and check that out. But my point is that all the additions that they've made to Final Fantasy VII over the years didn't really add much to it. So let's just give this video a shot here without further ado. And this might not even be related, honestly. Like, I might not even use this, but in my mind, like, Square Enix has slowly not destroyed Final Fantasy. What is the term that I'm searching for? Final Fantasy has lost its identity, this series, over the years, and I think Final Fantasy 14 has been really great for the series. It's brought a lot of people in, myself included. I'm a longtime player. I love this game. It stands almost alone as like it could be just a single player game. For a long time, they discounted it like, oh, this is just the MMO version of it. It's not really a real Final Fantasy. But it is the story. Like as you go through the expansions, as you meet the Asians and what they're trying to do, it all just really, really comes together, and it's still ongoing today. I'm even a few patches behind, but I digress. So over the years, Final Fantasy has lost its identity, and I feel like what they're trying to do with Final Fantasy 16 is going to be amazing for the series. But I'm assuming that this person will address some of the same issues that I've been having. So without further ado, let's just give it a shot. I have the video here, and I'll link to the original as well. But let's take a look, and let's just kind of give this a fair shake and see what they have to say.
Dear Square Enix, let me say how I feel about you. This isn't a hate letter. You're a company who I genuinely wish would do well, because you hold the weathered corpse of my beloved gaming series Final Fantasy in your hands.
Hey, that's actually a great way to put it, by the way. I'm not going to interrupt the flow of this too much, but I I feel exactly the same way. I want the series to do good. I want this series to succeed. Um, but yeah, I just feel like just let it die, just let Final Fantasy VII be. Create something new and beautiful. Um, don't just prop up its corpse.
Despite all your mistakes, I'm still a sucker for the Square Enix brand, because it's the tenuous link to my memories, the
Yes,
gateway to nostalgia. I
yes.
see the logo flash up somewhere and I pay attention. Out of sheer love for Final Fantasy, for the lost power, I still dare to dream. I've been to your little Square Enix cafe in Shinjuku. I've looked up in wonder at your headquarter tower, bowing at the feet of a false deity, paying honor and homage to something that never even existed at that location at one point.
This person is really poetic. That's a really great way to put it. And yeah, like for me as well, like it really captured my imagination as a kid. Especially the old retro games, the music. I remember I went to a friend's house in middle school and they had it, and they were just kind of, you know how it shows like the little sort of your whole party fighting, and you can see like this like vast beautiful landscape in the distance, and it just created this sense of awe and wonder. So every like random battle was really exciting, and it had such a great impact on me. And I have some friends that went to this cafe in Japan as well, but yeah, they liked it pretty good. Let's just continue. I'm sorry to interrupt the flow so much, but I just thought this would be fun to listen to and kind of give my thoughts. But so far, not even a minute in, this is like exactly how I feel. I'm not so great with words like this person, but this is great.
But it's out of sheer respect to you now housing that weathered corpse Final Fantasy that once gave me so
Weathered
many
corpse.
happy moments and memories. Out of a duty to those memories, I've bought merchandise, I've played and enjoyed the MMO,
I
I go to the
don't
Distant
have so
Worlds
much
concert
merch.
almost every year. This is a series that has been really good to me. Since I got into Final Fantasy
So
as a
this is a
teenager,
true
I
fan.
gained a greater appreciation for storytelling, I've met some great people through mutual love for the games. My life has been altered and shaped by the existence of these games. I'm sure many others feel the same way.
Yes, exactly. By the way, storytelling is something that really comes to mind. What did these games used to excel in? Incredible storytelling. Even incredible visuals. You know what I mean? At one point, this rivaled Disney. So this was incredible. And just like the gentleman said here, I feel like if I never played some of these games, I would not be the person that I am today. Even outside of the Final Fantasy series, Chrono Trigger, Chrono Cross, Xenogears. Oh my God, just phenomenal games, phenomenal. So I totally agree with this here.
If you haven't been able to tell yet, I still am a Final Fantasy fan, and I think that bothers
Yes,
and will bother some people because it's then harder to totally disqualify my points. When I speak what some would call hate, it's really out of love for what Final Fantasy was. I have a real problem with where you've been taking this franchise, but I shouldn't talk about
yes.
this stuff. Say anything negative about modern Final Fantasy, you're a hater. Yeah, I hate bad storytelling. Did you know that fans who decided to step off the FF7 remake hype train are traitors to your brands, both Square and Final Fantasy? Do you know you have a divided fan base?
It does kind of feel this way, like people are very overprotective of their communities. I've noticed that a lot in the Final Fantasy 14 community as well. I mean, people view it as like their thing, and anyone that criticizes it doesn't fully understand it, let's say. But I definitely see where he's coming from here. And it's all personal preference, but you can feel that in the later versions of the games, like for example Final Fantasy 13, with Lightning, it just felt like something was missing. It was lacking heart and soul.
I have many videos on my channel explaining why I think that is, but I know you're busy people, so the bottom line is it's not working for me and many others. There are a lot of your fans who just enjoy being around your characters, and they're happy for the plot to go
I
wherever
did
you
like this
take it,
moment in
without
Advent
question.
Children.
But you'd bring a whole lot of other fans on board too, if you just tell a strong narrative. Sure, a remake's convolution has spawned countless theory videos, predictions, critiques, including yours truly, which wouldn't exist without the wild avenues you travel down. But the truth is, it's all noise we could have done without. It's put some streamers and theory crafters in business and keeps the FF7 conversation going.
The unknown journey will continue. That was something, like, you could argue it was cleverly done, and I am excited in a way to see what they do with it. But you have to agree that all of the stuff that they added into it is just muddying the water is the best way that I can really describe it. It really took away from the original message of just hope dealing with loss and just perseverance. I will link to my original thoughts as well. I highly recommend watching it. I spoke straight from the heart. I took notes the whole time, and yeah. Anyways, let's continue, my friends. This is great so far, by the way. Kudos to you, good sir. This is really good.
And it's nice that people have something they feel so passionate about, but in my reality, I could have done without this. If you'd nailed Remake, I'd be long retired by now and enjoying replaying the game at my feet up. It's regretful that we're at this point and that we have a hugely divided fanbase. But, Square Enix, you wanted to keep the conversation going in a wild way, and for you I'm sure it was a risk worth taking. But it's not just your handling of Remake which has left some fans upset. It's the endless flood of mobile games and spin-offs to contend with, while you ignore the diminishing quality of your main entry Final Fantasy titles.
That's an absolutely great point. Just look at how much stuff they launched off of this. The First Soldier, a mobile game, remake, integrate, um, and then like what was the other version of remake that had like the sort of chibi characters? It's like, oh hey, look, this is the remake that you guys wanted. Here you go, and it's just so much so fast that you kind of get this like fatigue almost, like Final Fantasy VII, especially Final Fantasy VII fatigue. You're just tired of like all the slop, the low quality slop that is produced.
People have asked me what I think about games like Ever Crisis. The truth is, I can't even motivate myself to
This is what I
dedicate a
was talking
video to
about.
it right now.
Ever
It's
Crisis. And I'll be honest, you can go through my channel. I I was second guessing myself when this was released. I thought to myself, you know what? It took a while to really like settle, but I was like, you know what? Maybe it is good. Maybe that was a clever way to bring the series back, or do we really want a one for one remake? Maybe maybe that's how it should be all along. Maybe they should have added stuff to it. And then I tried to kind of follow the news, every little snippet that would come out of it, but honestly, it just wasn't the same. It's not the same thing that we know and love. And he puts it here very nicely.
It's nothing to me. It's a mobile game doing a best of scenes highlight reel.
Yes,
Here's your Chocobo farm,
exactly.
here's your Airbuster fight. Now go play in the corner as we try to weave a coherent plot out of the entire compilation. Your new take on FF7 is relegated to 10 chapters. I've seen the rapid fire streamlined approach you're going for. There's nothing about this that makes the original redundant. The equivalent of playing Lego Star Wars, condensing the story to a handful of memorable scenes or set pieces, jumping from one scene to the next, getting in and
Yeah,
out as quickly as possible. But Ever Crisis can't capture all the little moments in between. They were just as important. They're all a part of what made FF7, a part of what captured our imaginations, a part of what strengthened the story. Lingering in the forgotten city after a great loss, as you collect your thoughts, almost unable to continue.
exactly. That is what made it beautiful. And just think too, they didn't even have the technology to pull some of this off. The technology wasn't even there, but it was so ambitious and just so well done that even, what, like more than 20 years later, right? 25 years later, I can't believe it's been that long, is like this, it stays with you. Like you remember some of these. What do you remember? What are you going to remember from Intergrade, let's say, or this Ever Crisis? It's just, this is what made it timeless, is the attention to detail and the pure ambition and heart that really went into this.
Wandering aimlessly through the Great Glacier, feeling like you could get lost in there forever and the world outside move forward without you. Finding Cloud by
Yeah,
chance in Medeal after walking the world and seeing it from new point of view characters.
this
Stumbling
really
upon
makes me want to
secrets,
replay
moments
this
that
game.
didn't feel staged but happened organically through chance conversations and encounters because the game felt like a living, breathing world. Moments Squaresoft gave us fans, but moments we really created ourselves as the world, the story, the characters pulled us in and our imagination and own storytelling took hold. Are you going to cover that in Ever Crisis? When I think about it, Square Enix, you never even stood a chance, because it's all the moments in between that are just as important. When to be silent that creates the perfect sound, deeply intertwined with our nostalgia, written into our memories. You can't recreate that by rocketing through the story, by chucking a highlight reel our way and selling it as another remake of the original game.
Exactly.
With Remake,
Exactly.
the
Remember how much buildup there was in the original. Remember how much buildup there was. It's like, who was Sephiroth even? Where did he come from? What was he to Cloud? And what is Genova? Just all these great mysteries. Really, it was like it had these amazing elements of horror and mystery and suspense that they kept almost through the entire way. To where this is one of the big things in the game is like you don't even see the original Sephiroth until the very end. You know, when Cloud fucks him up. It's one of those things where they did such a good job, like bringing you in and making this world feel so alive in a way, despite the technology not even being there.
job was to give us something better, or at least the same but with new graphics. You can't do that with Ever Crisis, and you can't do that with Remake by boxing us in.
And do you know what? Honestly, maybe it wasn't even possible in the first place. Maybe just recapturing that sort of lightning in a bottle, as it were. Maybe it was just too much to expect of them. After the years of just like mediocre games.
Into chapters and putting walls around our freedom and imagination. Imagine drawing the most obvious lines you could around a game famous for its scope, forcing the player into the stage's spotlight, when maybe it's what's happening off
Hmm.
stage, behind the
Good
curtain,
point.
that really grabbed us. Our own unique and treasured experiences. You needed to give us the room to find that again, in new and meaningful ways. The closest you got to achieving that for me in Remake was the Cloud and Aerith moonlit walk through the slums. A combination of the music, the nighttime setting, the early friendship relationship blossoming between two characters, the unknown road ahead, the feeling that you could keep going into the night or
Yes,
perhaps anywhere else in this world. For a moment, you had me fooled. That was a deep, ethereal feeling not
I, I,
recreated again.
I did like
A
this
moment in
scene.
time, a brand new moment at that. You touched on something there, proved it could be done. Or maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's impossible to recreate that feeling. Maybe it's too late and I'm too old and nothing can ever bring that back. So at the very least, was it too much to ask to get a decent story? You've taken Remake its own weird direction, locked into frenzied sequels to rope in compilation.
Yeah, like there's a lot of like anime elements, kind of like shonen style things, like badass villains with big swords, and yeah, definitely. That he makes a good point is that some of the moments were really good. Like the buildup was really emotional, and there was some magic there in a way.
Characters and the compilation stamp of confusion. You might as well have called it Final Fantasy VII All Stars. The fan theories out there are more confusing than
Love
anything
this
you,
music
Square
from
Enix, will
8.
come up with, to your credit. I believe you'll play things far safer than some of the bloated ideas wandering around out there. But after what you pulled in Remake, you laid fertile ground for wild theories to blossom. It feels odd to say about a story
I
like
love
Final
this
Fantasy
music.
VII, but I miss the days of simplicity. Anyway, believe it or not, I've accepted where we are at Remake. I've come to terms with what you did.
That's exactly how I feel. I sort of just accepted it. Like it is what it is. This is what we get. I Maybe that's not the best approach, but I'm not gonna shout from the rooftops angrily. I love Final Fantasy VII. I love this series in general. I love Square Enix. But you just again, you have to think about all these, like the NFT thing they were gonna do, the mobile games, just like these weird cash grabs, these weird like spin-offs. There's just they almost don't understand their own product anymore. And they've really fallen away from what once made them just absolutely incredible.
Now, for me, the fate of Final Fantasy lies with Part 16.
Exactly.
There's a lot of talk
16, in my opinion. I've made a couple videos on this. I usually like always react to the trailers. I get excited about it, but I really feel like Final Fantasy 16 is going to be a return to the roots of what once made Final Fantasy great. I think the leadership that Yoshi-P provides, with that branch of the company, the Business Unit 3 or whatever, I think they did a fantastic job. And I feel like he truly understands. He did a great job with like reviving Final Fantasy 14 and sort of keeping that game going. But now that he has like pretty much the budget that he wants to do a game of this scope, already like you could just see the quality, all the different kingdoms, the vibe. Like is going to focus on story, combat. Like have extremely high hopes for this, and this reminds me of the Square Enix of old. This reminds me of like what all of this just should have been. Now we have the means, the technology. Just tell a good story.
Talk about the battle system, the seemingly darker grown up style, but the big
Yes,
thing for me is
more
you need
mature
to
for
prove you
sure.
can write. That you can tell a story with memorable characters drawn from scratch, not inherited from.
Another thing too is I will say the summons in this game, they look more realistic. It looks, they're dangerous. Like there's a weight to it, there's a gravity to it. And I feel like they really captured this really well, of just like, oh shit, I'm in danger. Like this is scary. Um Instead of just like, oh look, here's Shiva, whatever, here's like Garuda, it doesn't matter. It's just fun in games. Anyway, yeah, I'm really excited for Final Fantasy 16. But so far, great points. So many great points.
From days of old. If you don't hit that mark, the game is a huge failure for me, after the many letdowns along the years. I'm not going to deep dive into who is writing and what their background is, and I know the producer Yoshi-P is riding a wave right now after Final Fantasy 14.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, Square Enix, you as a company need to nail this.
And do you know what? Yes, he makes a great point. A lot of people are just over it. You know what I mean? A lot of people are over it. They're gonna maybe check it out, but if this is a miss, I think like most of the what little sentiment is left, or loyalty, I guess, maybe is going to be like greatly diminished if this game is a total miss. I have high hopes, but obviously, as we know with 7 remake and all that, I've that was really the game. That game there was the one that made me sort of temper my expectations for anything coming out, and not really to like buy into the hype so much.
It doesn't need to be a 10 out of 10 story either, but it does need to have emotional weight, with a clear protagonist, with a clear goal, with a strong arc, and a
Yeah,
deep and
he's
meaningful
right.
journey and resolution.
He's right.
It needs to make us feel, not through
I
fan
believe that
service
it
or
will.
callbacks, but by raw, visceral emotion.
Yes.
In the grand scheme of things, that's not asking for too much. Over the years, you've shown you can create moments, but you can't stick the landing. You can't bring it all together in a coherent way.
Hmm.
Am I sitting here
Hmm.
hoping 16 fails? Not even remotely. Nothing would give me more pleasure than seeing you get this franchise back on track.
Exactly. And that is what most true fans really feel. He makes a great point here. That is exactly what all of us want. We want to see the series succeed. We don't want it to fail.
Actively praying for its storytelling success. Although, granted, you are a video games company, so 16 needs to do the job as an RPG, with all the trimmings of course, but I'll be paying very close attention to the story. Leaving aside the MMO, while I think 12 is the strongest entry of the Enix era, elements of that story and major parts of 13 and 15 have all suffered in varying ways, for varying reasons which should have been deathly obvious to your writing staff. Each of those games have huge numbers of detractors. It's safe to say your reputation is in dire need of restoration. There used to be a time when fans would say, will they ever go back to turn-based? Will they ever bring back the world map? Well, now it's, when are they going to tell a good story again?
Yeah,
Don't you know the magic is dying? The
exactly.
last of its ether evaporating from that
Exactly.
weathered corpse you have locked in Square Enix HQ. It's time to free it. It's time to save Final Fantasy, to reignite a love for story and character, which the brand was once known for. Truly, this has to be make or break for you. Square
Yes.
Enix, sincerely, I'm rooting for you in 2023. Yours faithfully, a Final Fantasy fan.
Wow.
P.S. Square Enix, I've included links to all my.
He is that is so fantastic, the way he put it. There's so much more writing on this than just, hey, can we get the type of combat that we want, the turn-based combat? Can we get the world map? You know, there's just so much more at stake here. It's
Relevant videos
brilliant.
so that you can explore them at your own pace. I've heard that you like to look to YouTube for inspiration and motivation, so I hope that's not just restricted to positive reinforcement,
Not
but
this
also for constructive
beautiful
criticism
shot
too.
of the live stream.
I wish you well in all your endeavours.
Oh, so he actually mailed this letter to them. Wow. Wow, very interesting. I really enjoyed this. This was incredible. He did a fantastic job. The creator is called Orion85, and I'll give him a like here as well. He just posted this video. I highly recommend that you check it out. This is the channel here. I'm your 626th sixth subscriber from what it looks like, and I'll definitely be checking out some more of these as well. I hope you don't mind that I sort of piggybacked off of your video. Um, I'm definitely going to be giving these a shot because every once in a while I will go back and just kind of look at Final Fantasy content, you know. But Final Fantasy 7 sort of remake really I don't want to say it killed it for me, but it really tempered my it taught me to temper my expectations. But I couldn't agree more with what he said. I loved the video. It's very well put together, very well spoken, what great editing. Um, is just incredible. Yeah, I totally can't agree more. And I think most people really feel that. You know, most people feel that. But yeah, this is it. Thank you so much for watching. Take care and see you later.